I scared you, didn't I? What a nice prank to scare the shit out of someone when he least expects it. I have severe traumatic memory. Screamers were a popular fad on the internet around the early to late 2000s. I remember, I was on it. It consisted of a video or game or whatever that would mislead you into thinking that it was informative or innocent until suddenly, boom, you'd get a loud scream in any horror movie still that pops into your mind. 90% of them were Reagan from The Exorcist. It was a wild, wild west out there. You never knew what wild shit you were going to find while exploring. I was just a little kid who loved playing Mario Kart Wii when I found this video of someone getting a personal record on Daisy's circuit. Oh cool, maybe I can try a new shortcut. Oh my god, it's Reagan the Exorcist again. Who did that? Who put a screamer in a Mario Kart Wii video? Who does that? Was it you? If a Mario Kart Wii video isn't safe, you can imagine there was nowhere to hide. Emails, PowerPoints, pictures, flash games, websites, Ask Me Something forums, fucking comics. It's like people were competing to see who could insert a jumpscare in the least expected place possible. It was a particularly cruel prank. It was like the evil version of Rick rolling. You know how nowadays people send you links that take you to meme videos? Those were much better than what we endured back then. Back then, you pranked someone by giving them a heart attack. And I can't say I'm completely innocent myself. I remember sending screamer pranks through Facebook chat to a friend of mine because I like seeing his reactions. I'm sorry, Carlo. Basically, it became trendy to scare the shit out of someone who was surfing online. Some of the screamers even gained notoriety among the communities and became viral videos that pranked millions of people worldwide. You know the popular ones, the Maze and the Cavey commercials and the Rockin' Share, all of which I knew by reputation before I got scared by them. But I'm more curious about the lesser known screamers, those that felt a bit more personal. Like yeah, you may be a part of the Maze Club, but I'm proud of being in the I can see this goddamn tunnel section in Daisy Circuit ever again club. So I'll try exploring different kinds of screamers that I knew of and that I, or someone else I knew, were a victim of. And no, I'm not going to be cheeky and I'm not going to put a screamer in this video. I hate when people do that. But I will showcase some of the scary imagery that some of these screamers contain, and it may contain flashing images and really disturbing faces. So if you're insensitive to that, I'm gonna showcase them, but I'm gonna try to do it in a way that's more digestible. You know, I'm not going to put the screen on full screen out of nowhere. I'm going to be cautious about that. I guess it's fair to talk about what were the origin of screamer videos, which many point to as being this commercial from the 70s. It has a little toy monkey fella which serves as a distraction for the unsuspecting public until suddenly they hit you with a really loud scream and a really fast close-up of a monkey, which is insane for the 70s. And yeah, I guess that technically makes it the first screamer ever, but do I really count it? I mean, was it really done as a prank? I think it's more of a marketing stunt than anything, so I don't know if it really counts. But when it comes to the internet, nobody exactly knows where screamers truly originated. There were some screamer pranks floating around in the late 90s and very early 2000s in the form of viruses. For example, this unofficial McDonald's malware made in China. If you run it, a horror story would pop up and then the screen would go normal as if nothing happened, until minutes later your screen would be filled with a picture of a girl with black eyes and a scream. Can I just say that has always been one of my biggest fears, just unknowingly installing malware that would jump scare me at the most random of times. I still have that fear today. But the first media that everyone seems to point to as the first screamer is the infamous Kikia. Kikia was a 2002 flash animation that pretended to be a beautiful, philosophical poem about life until it suddenly hit you with a screenshot of a fatal frame ghost and a scream. It decided as the first screamer to really go viral, as it was often shared around the Taiwanese website first, and then it spread through other pages and then countries. As the internet was just starting to get popular, people decided to bring horror elements into it. So sharing this seemingly innocent video was a popular way to prank people that weren't familiar with the web, and Kikia was the perfect thing to catch them off guard. Sadly, what would follow are a bunch of flash animation pranks that follow the same formula basically. They would try to lure you in with a cute, innocent picture and then BAM! Pranked! The website Liquid Generation was infamous for hosting many of these animations that they called sabotages. Yeah, they were screamers, but they called them sabotages. They wanted to make that a term. Some programs would even try to get you to interact with them or get closer to the screen to scare you even harder. They would make letters as small as possible or the audio as low as possible. Or they would dare you to play a game where you'd have to get closer to the screen until suddenly they hit you with 1,000,000 decibels and 1,000,000 picture of the Exorcist you've seen that month. Yeah, what's wrong with this picture? What's the difference? Did you catch this? Stare at this optical illusion for 30 seconds. It was very popular to share this type of screamers through emails, which, speaking of, I was a victim of when I was a kid. You see, back then, instead of sharing memes through a group chat, it was very popular to share PowerPoints of funny stuff through the email. And I remember even making some shitty PowerPoints to share to my family, which I thought were the funniest thing. The thing is, when you downloaded a PowerPoint, and when you'd open it, you would see the presentation in full screen, so you couldn't notice the screamer in the program before starting it. And I don't remember who sent me this, but one time I got an email that dared me to play a game. I downloaded the PPTX and the game consisted of clicking a red button. After each successful click, the red button got smaller and smaller and smaller, and my face would get closer and closer and closer to the screen until I clicked the smallest of circles, and then BAM! The Exorcist. And you could add sounds to those presentations too, so BAM! The Exorcist and an ungodly scream. I think at the time I didn't know about a maze, so this was the first screamer that really caught me off guard. And if I did know about the maze, oh my god, I was a dumbass. And shortly after, I remember a rumor in my school pop out of an email that invited you to play a game of tic-tac-toe. Us, being kids that love games, would for sure want to play a game. It was against the CPU and it was, well, tic-tac-toe. Except that I think on the 5th or 6th move, something would jump out at you. Apparently it was a match from the Evil Dead, though I don't know because I didn't fall for this one as a kid because I remember the rumors very clearly. This trend of screamer flash games became so popular that even big names got in on the trend. Who could forget Nickelodeon of all things, making a screamer for children in a form of black licorice? Well, it was as harmless as a screamer could be, you just don't expect these kids to make demonic faces once you give them black licorice. It was so bizarre that parents actually called Nickelodeon to take the animation down. But to counteract that tamest screamer of all time, I want to show you what I think is one of the cruelest, most despicable ones. Escape from the Culminating is a flash game tie-in for the second live-action Scooby-Doo movie. I don't know how faithful it is, I've never seen the movie, but what I know is that this screamer is traumatizing. Playing the second stage has you exploring an ancient pyramid solving puzzles, and at one point you can acquire a crowbar to open tombs with. But do not do this, it is a trap. The crowbar merely exists to scare the shit out of you. Because when you use it to open the mummy sarcophagus, a very small faded text will appear and it will get smaller and smaller until this ungodly face of hell jumps out of you with the ugliest and loudest screamer I've ever heard in one of this. Jesus Christ! This is an official game from a teen movie! Who thought that it was even remotely okay? I hate this one. I can't even get myself to watch a playthrough of this game because I just... oh my god, the picture of that mommy's face and that scream just gets into my head. And god, I hate it. I hate it. I hated it the first time I experienced it. I didn't experience it, but I saw a video of someone playing this game and it didn't tell me about that thing. So, oh my god. God, it's such an efficient screamer, but I hate it because it's so good. But oh my god, it's That's the one screamer that I just can never stomach. Screamers live on flash games for a while, until 2006 came rolling around with a big game changer: YouTube. Now, not only could you spread screamers easier than ever, but now you could record your friends falling for one as well and showcase it to the world. I think this is where the true popularity of the maze came about. Any video of people pranking their friend with a screamer usually had the blue and black maze on the screen, and I think the maze is the first thing that anyone thinks of when they hear screamer. Well, at least us millennials anyway. Zoomers probably picture a creepy guy with a white latex mask. I never fell victim to the maze because I already knew of its reputation from the internet forums, so I just stuck to people falling for it. But along with the maze came a new type of screamer video: the subliminal messages in Disney movies type of screamer. Me and my sister were huge on those videos when there was nothing else to watch on YouTube. I have this picture of a wine poster born into my brain. But some smartasses realized this and they started putting screamers in these kinds of videos as well. So they would show you a very blurry picture of something, and then they have the gall to ask you, did you see this? Look closer. And a few seconds later, knock knock, who's there? It's the exorcist. My sister told me that she fell for these ones a couple of times, and I was lucky enough to never have fallen for one of those subliminal messages video screamers, but that was because I had the foresight to check the comments. The comments were lifesavers back then. True veterans always knew to scroll down to the comments before watching a suspicious looking video. Thankfully, my mom was not a true veteran at all, and she fell for one of these. I remember it clear as day. It was 2009 and Michael Jackson had just died, and a video spread around of a sighting of Michael Jackson's ghost in his mansion. My mom was sitting on the stairs and I peeked at what she was doing, and I knew what she was watching, and I was about to warn her of the video when suddenly a zombified Michael Jackson face rapidly approached the screen with a scream, and my mom went like, "Fuck! A shit!" and almost threw the computer. It was so funny. And then there was this flash game that was fairly popular in the late 2000s, and it was called The Game. Yeah, we all lost. Get over it. It was a very random yet thought-provoking piece of online flash art that consisted of various interactive sketches that were basically all just setups and punchlines of popular media in that era. And yeah, it's incredibly dated, but one of the sketches especially stuck with me because it was a screamer, and it got me. Yeah, it's a sketch about Pac-Man just noticing that there are ghosts around him, and it's already fairly traumatic with bloody imagery and gore, more gore, both, and it does the thing. That thing where the screen fades to black, making you think that the sketch is already over, before a bloody Pac-Man suddenly jumps out at you with an incredibly loud scream. I remember all of it. I did throw my computer. I hated this part so much that replaying it, I always just left my room to go drink water when this came about. So, yeah, I never played that part of the game again. The game. So after being tormented by a bunch of screamers online, I wanted to shut off the computer, go to my bed, turn the TV on, and watch a funny episode of Puka. Yeah, Puka. Do you remember that? It was dark and they were showing reruns of Puka in Jetix. Yeah, Jetix. Remember that too? Anyways, there was this episode where Garu gets a haunted photo as a gift and it is possessed by a creepy ghost. Oh, look at her. She's so scary. Yeah, the episode is pretty much what you'd expect of a Halloween episode of a very cute cartoon. Except when the episode is over. Everything's done, you don't expect anything but a credit, but the screen goes to black for slightly too long, and it does the thing. A ghost face jumps out at you out of nowhere with a screamer. Okay, it is a very cute ghost face, but I was a kid and I didn't expect this from God and Puka. Puka! I also remember Epic Rap Battles put something like this in their serial killers rap battle. Who won? Who's next? You decide! Screeching Ghostface. ERB, you bitches. Okay, we're going back online. In the late 2000s, meme sites started gaining popularity as well. Pages like Memebase, Failblog, Historic LOLs, very demotivational, just lots of them. One I enjoyed especially was cheatbricks.com, which was dedicated to posting seemingly normal pictures that had something off-putting in them. It had its fair share of creepy pictures like ghosts and all, but, well, let's just say that people found out that you could upload GIFs to the website. So yeah, you can imagine what happened. There's a photo of a seemingly normal family and the caption said there's something wrong with it. And since it's a picture, you don't expect anything, but suddenly the little girl jumps out at you with a demonic face. The site became infected with these kind of pictures after that. And now, no one had any idea of what picture was spoiled with a screamer or not. And that's why I decided to never visit that page again. Eventually, screamer videos lost their shtick and everyone knew what to expect. The cheat code of looking for the comments was well known, and people usually jumped to the end of the video to know if there was a screamer or not. So screamers began fading out of popularity. They really needed to change things up if they really wanted to catch people off guard. Well, in 2011, a certain webcomic shook the internet with a revolutionary tactic. Listen, there's no way you can make a webcomic scary, right? Well, I mean, there are creepy webcomics out there, but they can jump scare you or anything. After all, you control how fast you read them. Well, that was until the story of the Bangchang Dong Ghost. This is pure art. The Bangchang Dong Ghost tells the story of a Korean high school student that witnesses a creepy being at night, and it's a really scary tale, but one you can read at your own pace. The story goes on for a while until a ghost appears and suddenly the unthinkable happens. You no longer have control. Instead, the scroll bar moves on its own unexpectedly, effectively creating an animation of the creepy ghost turning its head 180 degrees like a flipbook animation. That shit was awesome. I remember being more impressed than scared, honestly. It was something I had never seen before and it left me like astounded. Yeah, the creepy Korean webcomic became a viral sensation on the internet. It was almost as widespread as a maze. At least it clearly made an impact on many of us who were browsing the internet as teenagers, judging by all the memes. The webcomic screamer was truly one of a kind, and I don't think we'll ever see a screamer that was as cleverly integrated as this one. So it may seem like there was nowhere else to go for screamers after this, like it had already been done. But there was still one final trick up the internet's sleeve, and it was a really cruel one too. Any JPEG is the last screamer that I would consider to reach the viral phenomenon status. The last of its kind of those screamers that would spread online everywhere to get people. I was in high school by this point, and I remember it was very popular to have an Ask blog where people could send you questions anonymously. I mean, sure, you can either use it to get to know your classmates better with fun questions, or you can post a link that takes you to the horrifying screamer that scars them for life. Guess which ones my classmates chose? But there was something tricky about these things, the peculiarity that gave this screamer its fame. It ended in JPEG. Hold on, JPEGs are pictures. I mean, sure, they could be shocking pictures, but they aren't supposed to move or have audio. But this one did, and I'm still not sure how that one worked. The fact that it had that extension meant that a lot of people would click on it thinking that it was just a measly innocent picture, but instead the link would redirect you to a full screen webpage of the one and only Jeff the Killer. Yes, this was around that time where Jeff the Killer was the hottest creepypasta out there, and he basically replaced Reagan as the de facto screamer face for a couple of years here. But that wasn't all. Not only did this page have Jeff the Killer in full screen, it also had the loudest screamer you'd ever heard in one of these. But not only did it have unholy audio, the picture also zoomed in very fast to give it a DCR feeling. And not only did it zoom in really fast, but it also flashed in your face with negative colors to try to give you an epilepsy. Oh, and did I tell you that some versions would download malware to your computer, and that some versions wouldn't even let you close the tab? And that isn't all. This screamer had disguises. It wasn't just one well-known site. It wasn't something universally known like the maze. This screamer could hide anywhere. If you were a fan of Minecraft and you wanted to find the site to download it, findminecraft.com would redirect you to any JPEG. If you wanted to play the hit game Agario but instead made a typo and spelled it Agorio, it will redirect you to an JPEG. A Facebook link, an JPEG. A print screen picture, a text file, that's right, fucking any JPEG. It was a monster, an amalgamation, an experiment to create the worst, most damaging screamer you could possibly imagine and spread it around the world. I got scared by it. I scared others by it. It was the last hurrah of screamers before they would fade into irrelevancy. And in a way, it couldn't have been any more perfect. It made sense that in its last leg, the screamer fad would go all out with its most horrific creation. It was wild. But eventually, all things have to end. Many of these sites were taken down, some of the pages were blocked, the videos were gone. YouTube added a function where you'd get a mini preview of the timeline, so screamers were easier to spot than ever, and many restrictions were added on browsers. And with the data flash in 2020, screamer links became ultimately useless unless you really look for them. Thanks to this and many other factors, the fad of screamers definitely died down, and they pretty much became replaced by meme videos and the eternal rickrolling. yeah, get rickrolled. But in my opinion, they will never truly die. I mean, they're still popping out here and there, especially on TikTok. I know I've seen at least one TikTok that asks you if you heard a noise, a weird noise, and then someone comes running at the camera at fast speeds. Though mostly these resort to using shock videos like in shoots instead of screamers. But nevertheless, their presence is still there. And as long as there is social media, the screamers will be lurking in the shadows. I look fondly on the times that I got scared by a screamer. As you see, I've never forgotten them. But I really don't miss the practice. I have always hated the very concept of screamers. This idea that you had to always be on your toes on the internet in case something would pop out when you were doing your normal stuff. Like, it could be anywhere. But I guess at the same time, it was a teaching moment for many of us to never trust what you see on the web. And it was kind of a life lesson. I just want to keep doing my things on the internet without having to worry about anything. But hey, people on the internet will always be a-holes. And at some point, I was an a-hole too. This is the internet again, and don't click on any links in the comments. Bye!